Now, nearer home, comes a special bulletin from Trenton, New Jersey. It is reported that at 8:50 p.m., a huge flaming object, believed to be a meteorite, fell on a farm in the neighborhood of Grover's Mill, New Jersey, 22 miles from Trenton.
Good radio speaking is an art that involves a number of factors. These include the intrinsic qualities of the human voice, but also what is known as radio prosody. This is the tone, accent, and rhythm with which the voice is spoken. In addition to the expressive value of the unique qualities of each individual voice, there are a number of elements that organize a speech and influence the meaning of each word and phrase in radio. These include intonation, pauses, punctuation, rhythm, and last but not least, the speaker's attitude. In radio, the way we deliver the message determines how effective it is. In other words, if the speech is not expressive enough, the listener will lose attention and the process will have failed. In this podcast, we will analyze good and bad examples of radio presentation. Let's start with good examples. The beginning of this documentary is synonymous with good diction, intonation, punctuation, and rhythm. The speaker conveys the attitude of the narrator in this type of format. Clear and concise, but also attractive and convincing.
Imagine that when you are born, a digital version of you is also created. A virtual you that is tethered to you, owned by you, and grows up and learns and works with you. Supports your physical and mental health, your well-being and development, from first heartbeat to digital death.
The expressiveness of radio reaches its maximum level with advertising and fiction formats. Let's listen to the correct intonation, rhythm, and attitude of the speakers in these examples.
Hey, Thirst, can I try out a few Coke Summer sound effects on you? Yes. Cool. You okay with this? Yes. And this? Yes. And what about this? Yes. Ha! Gotcha there, Thirst. That wasn't sound effects. That was a Coke. I'm no longer thirsty. You're so out of here. Coca-Cola. Open happiness.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, Ian. Hi, Jennifer.
Come in. Mike and Julia here.
Hi, Lynn.
We know we're early, but we thought, wow, what the hell? Well, played a round of golf this morning.
Which meant getting up at 7.
Yeah, me getting up at 7. I didn't ask you to.
No, but Saturday morning. Anyway, go on. Tell him the result. You know you're dying to.
In informative radio, clarity and conciseness while presenting the stories are essential for the communicative process to work. In addition, tonal variations, these are cadences and anti-cadences, are key to break the monotony of text, which are mainly made up of declarative sentences. An appropriate speed and rhythm are also crucial to keep the listener interested in the message.
In a world of so many conflicts, it can be hard to keep up with every war, every battle, every skirmish. And that perhaps is sometimes true of the countries involved in fighting. Russia, for example, has been focused on its invasion of Ukraine. Hezbollah, meanwhile, has been hit hard in its conflict with Israel. And it does look like both of them failed to notice what was going on in the meantime with the conflict in Syria. Russia and Hezbollah had been major supporters of the Assad regime. Their relative absence from the scene would perhaps partly explain how, apparently out of the blue, rebels based in Idlib managed to break out of their stronghold and almost instantly overwhelm the city of Aleppo. The attack certainly came as a shock to this resident.
We had no idea what was going on. The rebellious troops, they were actually moving closer to us in the middle of Aleppo.
Let's listen to how the use of soundbites gives rhythm to the piece and strengthens the credibility of the news story.
It's been called a once-in-a-generation political and moral decision. For the first time, lawmakers in the UK have approved the first stage of an historic bill that gives terminally ill adults in England and Wales the right to end their lives with medical help.
The ayes to the right, 330. The noes to the left, 275.
The MP proposing the bill, Kim Leadbeater, said it would offer adults choice, autonomy and dignity in death.
We are not talking about a choice between life or death. We are talking about giving dying people a choice of how to die. Yeah. When 4 former directors of public prosecutions all agree that the law needs to change, surely, Mr. Speaker, we have a duty to do something about it.
The British Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, was among those who voted in favour. The result followed hours of often emotional testimony from MPs on both sides of the debate on assisted dying.
Despite their experience, radio professionals can make errors that make it difficult for listeners to get the message right. Pauses are essential to structure and give meaning to the speech, but they are also very useful for the presenter to breathe and not run out of air while speaking. Poor breathing or a rash speech can lead to failures and mistakes.
The weather forecast staying mostly cloudy this evening and tonight. Most places will be dry, but with some drizzle and hill fog.
Reading the text several times before going on air is also key to avoiding this problem.
The Wireless for the Blind Fund. Details on the sleeve of this tape. Now then, what's news?
It's 11 o'clock on the English service. And here is the news. I beg your pardon. Here is the news read by Stella Hare.
One of 3 Labour MPs who just returned from a visit to Afghanistan has now said he'd seen very few Soviet troops and control of the city was clearly in Afghan hands.
Mouth sounds, such as clicking of the tongue, are very annoying to the radio listener and should be avoided. Other sounds are more difficult to consciously correct, such as coughing. However, we can prevent this problem by keeping our throat moist and avoiding habits that damage our vocal cords, such as alcohol or tobacco.
Good morning. Stevie Wonder, Smokey Robinson and Lionel Richie, just some of the stars who'll be paying tribute to Michael Jackson later. A much-hyped memorial service is being held in LA today. 17,500 fans applied for tickets to the, received tickets to the event. We're expecting the singer's funeral, to take place just a few hours ahead of the performance.
The last example is a reminder of the importance of always checking that you are not being overheard on air. There is a golden rule in radio. Please, never, ever swear.
Sorry to keep interrupting, but it was the lenders paying them this commission. You were paying the commission.
Well, there's nothing wrong with commission.
Testing.
The dealer does a lot of work in order to sell a car and to sell finance.
Jesus Christ, it's so cold.
The question is whether it's fair,
in here.
And that's what the FCA is talking about here.
I'm told that there was some cross lines at the start of the programme today and that you could hear someone swearing. I'm really, really sorry about that.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.